Shugo Chara is a very imperfect show, especially with how it handles gender, and yet that's part of what makes it so interesting. Shugo Chara is a story about a girl named Amu who wakes up one day to find 3 eggs on her bed, which hatch into guardian characters, which she can use to Chara change, which gives her a new personality, or Chara transform, which gives her fun magical girl superpowers. She is then invited to join a superpowered student council named the Guardians, who all have Charas, to fight this evil organization named Easter. The Guardians are the King Tadase, the Jack Kukai, the Ace Yaya, and the Queen, who we will be discussing today. The first queen is Nadeshka, who is just the perfect ideal of femininity. She's tall, graceful, a great cook, and the perfect friend to Amu, supporting her and her crush on Tadase. She's almost too perfect. I mean, her Chara change has anger management issues, but still. There's a few details that you can almost miss if you don't know what's coming though. She doesn't want to swim, she always changes clothes really fast, and she has a twin brother who looks exactly like her. Yeah, no, Nadeshko is a boy named Nagihiko. So in Nadeshko's family, boys are raised as girls so that they can dance in roles reserved exclusively for girls in Japanese dance. As a result, Nadeshko was always pushed to be the perfect girl, never jumping too high, never speaking too loud, never running too fast so that nobody would ever suspect she was a boy. As a result, when her Chara was born, its Chara change makes Nadeshko super violent, as an expression of all the anger she's keeping inside, never stepping outside of the perfect ideal of femininity. There's a point to be made about how this resembles certain TERF ideas about parents who hate gender nonconformity, forcing their children to be trans, but I'm not going to blame a manga from 2007 for resembling transphobic ideas from a decade later, from an entirely different culture, because that's dumb. When this is revealed, it's played as somewhat of a joke, but not as much as I expected. Tadase already knew Nadeshko was a boy and didn't tell anyone, which is wild in and of itself and hints to his true kindness. And Kukai is relatively chill about it. There are some jokes like, OMG, if people found out they might think you're a pervert, but there are also jokes more empathetic to Nadeshko's struggles. Like when Amu approaches Nadeshko and asks them to pretend to be their sister for a second so that she can vent, having them put up their hair and talk like a girl, not realizing the sheer irony. But anyway, Nadeshko actually has 2 Chara eggs, representing the 2 selves they want to be. The first is Rhythm, who, what? Rhythm is this playboy DJ dancer thing, which hatches when Nadeshko realizes the kind of boy they want to be. The problem with this is that it's kind of stupid. Okay, so as a girl, Nadeshko was required by her parents to only jump as high as the average girl could, but then what she really wanted was to jump as high as she could. But now, as a boy, he can jump as high as he wants. He can join the basketball team. He can be flirty. He can be free. The problem with this is that it's really stupid. Nagihiko, have you met this show's main protagonist, Amu? The one who can transform into Amulet Heart, whose motto is hop, step, jump, who can jump way higher than you. This is a very unhealthy attitude to have towards femininity, and interestingly, it actually makes Nagihiko feel like a bit of a trans guy of all things, feeling trapped by the expectation to be a girl. But also it gets more confusing. So this girl Arima finds out that Nadeshko is actually Nagihiko and is very upset about it, and calls her a liar, and this leads to a bit of reflection in one of the most horrible scenes I've ever seen. So when Nadeshko was in Europe, she was being interviewed and the interviewer asks her, "Don't you think your dancing would be better if you were a real girl?" Which, Jesus. From this, Nagihiko concludes that they have been running away from the fact that they can't dance like a girl, and from the fact that they are growing up more and more, as cross-dressing gets harder as you get older, as boys and girls are much more similar to each other than men and women are. From this, Nagihiko concludes that they have no reason to act like a girl, and should instead find the dance that represents them best. A dance only a boy raised as a girl can do. Okay, so where do I start? My problem with this isn't that I think Nadeshko is a secret trans girl. My problem is that Nadeshko doesn't have the option, though that's realistic for 2008. But like at no point does anybody say to her, hey, you know, if you really don't want to grow up into a man, there are options. That's one problem. The other is how little understanding Nagihiko has of what it means to be a boy or a girl. Like, being a boy isn't when you jump high and flirt with people, and being a girl isn't when you wear a dress and don't jump high. I mean, in this show we have sparkly pretty boy Tadase and Amu, whose main superpower is literally just being athletic. This actually fits into the themes of the show really well, because of course growing up is going to be much more complicated when you're secretly another gender, but it only works if you forget what trans people are for the duration of the episode, which is kind of annoying. Amu's embrace of Ikto in the final fight indicates to me that this general misunderstanding of gender might be worse than just Nadeshiko as well. In the season 2 finale arc, Amu realizes that of course boys have to fight, they're boys, but there is a way for her, a girl, to fight as well, by embracing all of Ikto's pain and supporting her husband. And then her final Mega 4 Chara transformation is a wedding dress. Give me a break. I mean, in what world is it okay for your shoujo protagonist's finale realization to be, I don't think I can fight as well as a boy? And then they didn't even adapt the last few manga volumes, so the anime story just ends here, not including Party. Speaking of, we have to talk about Rima, Nagihiko's girlfriend and replacement as queen, with Nagihiko becoming the Jack, who I think the manga handled better. Okay, so Rima's parents' marriage is a mess, because when Rima was little, she got kidnapped. Her parents never stops blaming everyone except themselves for this, and as a result have a very poor relationship with each other and Rima. Rima, of course, can't really express herself as a result of this, leading to her being hyper-reserved and above it all, when the person she really wants to be is a clown. As a result, she puts a lot of effort into pushing the people around her to be honest with themselves, because of the crushing effect other people's failure to has had on her. This is most apparent in her relationship with Nagihiko, which, oh my god. So after Nagihiko realizes their true self with Rima, in the manga at least, they start dating. This honestly improves things and makes Rima feel less like a bully, because in the anime, all there is her being mad at Nagihiko for not telling Amu he is Nadeshiko, which really just feels like Rima bullying Nagihiko for being a crossdresser. But in the manga, Rima actually falls for Nadeshiko here, finding them to be a kinder presence which she prefers to the brash, loud Nagihiko. This makes it feel more like what she wants is for her boyfriend to be honest, instead of just to be mean. It's weird, but I promise it works in context. So all in all, this might be the weirdest early gender bender character. They don't really do the whole oh haha it's a trap thing, which I like, but they sure aren't perfect. That being said, things that are perfect are often less interesting anyway. I wonder if they'd be any different if they were made today, or if this mess was inevitable. But if you've enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing, and if you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them.